everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Exchange. My name is Scott Morgan, off the Motor City Mad Mile. Glad to have Mel Farr on the broadcast. Good evening, Mel.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we all doing today?
Oh, doing all right. I'm getting revved up for Sebring, doing a little bit of auto racing coverage on Friday and Saturday. Rick Curti, what's going on in an area where there's a lot of auto racing up in North Carolina, but there won't be for a while. What's going on?
It's going well. We got some of the storm out here. We got some flooding here in Charlotte and some parts of North Carolina, but it's been raining all day.
Yeah, we've been getting rain here. I hear Tampa got quite a bit of it too. So hurricane season is ending on a very wet note, to say the least. Okay, with that said, let's get to the business at hand tonight. Washington's Alex Smith is set for his first NFL start since November of 2018 against the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford. Some thoughts, Rick, about Alex Smith?
This is a phenomenal story. I mean, this guy should be comeback player of the decade. I saw his ESPN journey where he not only did he break his leg, he almost died. They came close to amputating his leg, and then he had blood poisoning. He just had setback after setback after setback, and apparently his injury was so bad that he had to go to a military rehab hospital because they said it was like someone stepping on a landmine. It was that bad of an injury. And for him to not only be alive and to walk, but to play is a fantastic story. I'm rooting for Alex Smith. I've been rooting for Alex Smith. His career should have ended, and I'm really, really happy that he's back in the NFL.
Mel?
Yeah, it's truly a feel-good story. I mean, the irony of it all is the guy he's replacing, Kyle Allen, dislocated his ankle, broke his leg. It's kind of crazy, but I am shocked based on what I saw, the documentary when they did a little something on Alex Smith and what he went through to get to. I can't believe he wants to play, number one. And because I would be in constant, that's always going to be, it has to be in the back of one's mind, the type of injury that he sustained. And like Rick said, it wasn't even a matter of him getting back on the field. I mean, he almost lost his life. He almost lost his limb. And they asked his wife, what did she want to do? And she said, well, if it meant saving his life, and I'm just kind of paraphrasing here, to go ahead and amputate his leg if that meant saving his life. I mean, that's how dire it got for him during this process. And for him to be able to have the opportunity not only to play in an NFL game but to start an NFL game, truly amazing. Happy for the player.
Yeah, I am too. I remember a long time ago, Joe Theismann suffered that gruesome injury on Monday Night Football at the hands of Lawrence Taylor. And knowing what we know about advanced medicine now, one would have thought Theismann probably could come back in this day and age, but that's for another conversation. But Alex Smith, I did watch that thing on ESPN. It was unbelievable. And the fact that he's out there, and who knows, he might end up beating the Detroit Lions the way that they're playing. So, but he's winning anyways just by being on the field, and the story in itself. His legacy to me is cemented because of this comeback. And let's not forget that he's had a pretty good career too. He really has. The 49ers wasn't a bad act, and then of course he didn't do so bad with Kansas City until Patrick Mahomes unseated him. So more power to Alex. I'm rooting for anything that he can accomplish. And at a time when we need feel-good stories in 2020 with COVID-19, it's good that Alex Smith is indeed providing us with a comeback story for the ages. All right, this is a portion of the broadcast where Rick Curti has a chance to have a rant. What that means, Mel, is we don't even talk about this particular subject. We're going to let Rick go off. And we're going to let him go off on Russell Westbrook, who wants out of Houston. And there's a report that the Charlotte Hornets are a potential suitor. What a dynamic fit with Michael Jordan. I don't know.
Oh, this is a disaster. When I heard that Russell Westbrook was going to Houston, I said I'd give it a whole year with another egomaniac and James Harden. And I thought this is not going to work out. Everyone, they used to play together in Oklahoma. They'll get along. No, they're both prima donnas. They're both egomaniacs. They both they don't want to share the spotlight with anybody. It's all about them. That's why they're never going to win a world championship with Harden or Westbrook. And surprise, surprise, he wants to leave now. And for him to go to Charlotte, I mean, to go with another egomaniac and our owner, Michael Jordan, is just a horrible owner. And, it's all about him. I mean, this is another disaster waiting to happen right here. And, Russell Westbrook will pretty much be a has-been if he comes here. Charlotte's not going anywhere. They're not going to go to the playoffs. They're not going to win a world championship, as long as we got Michael Jordan as the owner. So to me, this would be a huge step down for Russell Westbrook. Here, it would be treated like gold. They'll be like, wow, Russell Westbrook's coming here. But pretty much it's just a step down from him. He'll be irrelevant here. He'll be unhappy. He'll sulk just like he usually does if he doesn't get his way. And like I said, he'll be frustrated. And then maybe, if he does come here, I give it maybe a couple of years, he'll demand the trade. And, and I always saw him going back to Los Angeles. I see him going to the Clippers because he's from Long Beach. And I think that's where he would be happy. I think he would like to go back home in Southern California. I kind of see him going with the Clippers, maybe the Lakers, but mostly I see him going to the Clippers. I think he would do well there. So if he came to Charlotte, it would be a total disaster. But am I surprised by this? Absolutely not. With him and Harden, and it's like oil and water. And there was they showed him kind of arguing sometimes, and it just wasn't good chemistry. And I don't know what the Rockets are doing, to be quite honest with you. D'Antoni's a good coach, whether he wanted to leave on his own, and then they got somebody else. I don't even know who he is, and he's not going to last very long. And, you still got great coaches out there, like Mark Jackson, who I don't understand why he's not a head coach. So not a big surprise with Russell Westbrook. He's a crybaby prima donna. And he comes here, it'll be a total disaster here, and he'll want out of here. So if I was Russell Westbrook, I give a call to the Clippers, and maybe I can go back home, and maybe I'll be happy, and I could salvage my Hall of Fame career.
Steven Silas, by the way, is a head coach of the Houston Rockets, just so you know. So my only question to you before we go on to the next subject, just say hypothetically Russell Westbrook becomes a Charlotte Hornet. Does he sell quite a few tickets?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's still a great player. He'll just be irrelevant. But out here, the Hornets are they're a joke. I mean, we have Jordan here, who's a terrible owner, and he's a great basketball player, but as an owner, he's not so great. So, but will he sell tickets? Yeah, because people want to see him. He's still a great player, and he'll be treated like gold here. But to me, it's kind of like he'll be irrelevant, and it's kind of a step down for him. So, and he's not going to win nothing here. So he'll demand a trade in a couple of years. So if I was him, I go back home to Southern California, maybe go play for the Clippers.
Yeah, the only question there would be whether or not they have enough room in their salary cap and how they make the numbers work. But yeah, I think he's a Southern California guy. But as far as going to Charlotte, yeah, he would make a lot of money, sell a lot of tickets, and won't win many basketball games. So
no.
All right. With that said, let's go on to the next thing. Marcus Stroman's accepting a qualifying offer to stay with the New York Mets in 2021. Steve Cohen factor. Boy, Mel, have you ever seen so much enthusiasm for a fan base that's getting an owner like Steve Cohen? This guy's making changes, and he's making some sweeping changes. And let me tell you, everybody's drinking the Steve Cohen Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. And that's kind of how it is when new ownership comes in. Everybody gets excited about the possibilities, and we'll just have to wait and see. Obviously he's got some pretty deep pockets and wants to spend some money. I would have liked to see A-Rod and J-Lo get the team and see what they could have done with it. But I don't know if A-Rod really wanted the Mets. I don't know. I mean, maybe he did, maybe he did. I don't know. But I would have liked to seen them get the team and see what they could do with it. And obviously, both, with them being a minority as well, having some more minority ownership in the MLB wouldn't have been bad. So I was kind of rooting for them to get the team. But, we'll see what happens. Everybody gets excited when there's change. And so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, but Steve Cohen isn't just a guy who you get excited. This guy's got deep pockets. He's looking to win within 3 to 5 years. And even though he – and I believe that everything I'm hearing out of New York, and, I talk with Stuart Hack a lot on some broadcasts and a lot of people in New York, this to me is probably the best thing that's ever happened to the New York Mets, right? Rick Curti.
I mean, it probably is.
Yeah.
But listen, but this thing, everybody wants to win, right? He's no different than any other owner. Maybe there's a few owners that really don't care about winning, but for the most part, he's no different. You know, the Yankees. I'm sure they're chomping at the bit. They can't wait for the season to start again. The Astros, they can't wait. Boston just hired. They hired back their manager that they had to suspend. The other guy from Houston, he got a job as soon as the season was over. He got a job. So there's a lot of teams that are really excited about the opportunities coming in 2021.
Yeah, but nobody's got Steve Cohen's pocketbook there, Mel. The guy I hear is worth $14.2 billion. So, in my opinion, and again,
The Dodgers aren't broke.
Huh?
I guarantee you, the Dodgers have plenty of money.
That's true. And now they got a World Series championship, and Rick Curti chastising him anymore either. All right, Rick, what's your take on Cohen?
Well, if he knows how to do his job, then he'll be fine. I mean, we know a lot of owners with deep pockets, a.k.a. Daniel Snyder or James Dolan. They got lots of money. And, boy, you talk about a horrible ownership there. Two of the worst owners in all of sports. And hopefully Cohen won't, hopefully he'll be like a Mark Cuban and be successful and use his money and do good in drafting and not be a meddling owner. That's the one thing. He cannot be a meddling owner because every time you see a meddling owner like a Jerry Jones or a Dan Snyder, that's where it affects them. So as long as he's not a meddling owner and goes after free agents and pays a lot of money. And like I said, that's one thing about Major League Baseball. There is no salary cap. You can spend as much money as you want, do what you want. It's not like the NBA or NFL where you have a budget. Here, there's no budget. You can spend as much money as you want. And he said he wants to be competitive in 3 to 5 years. Let's get him in the playoffs first, okay? And then we could talk about World Series. But let's see what he does. But as long as he's not meddling and he's putting out all the money and gives his managers an opportunity, I think the Mets will be fine.
Well, I like what he has with Sandy Alderson. That's a good step in the right direction. You're not going to get a much better baseball man than Sandy Alderson. So, I think the Mets right now will be in pretty good shape. But like you guys say, time will tell. All right, the Chicago White Sox understand the seriousness of Tony La Russa's DUI charges. So my thoughts to you guys are, what do you think about the Tony La Russa situation, Mel?
Well, I mean, did they know about it before they hired him? That's
they did.
That's the one question I would have. And if they did know about it before they hired him, why are they kind of in limbo right now? If you let them know what happened, I mean, yeah, obviously it's an embarrassing situation. It happens, and it's going to get resolved, and we're going to be playing baseball here. A little surprised that they did indeed hire him. I mean, he's a little long in the tooth. He's a lot long in the tooth. I think he's 76 years old.
Yeah, right.
So, I was kind of surprised by that a little bit. But I mean, he's a proven winner. I mean, everywhere he's gone, they've won, and so I can't fault them for that.
Well, Jerry Reinsdorf indicated that he regretted firing him in the first place many years ago, so he felt this was a golden opportunity to bring him back. Maybe the move pays off, maybe it doesn't. I know Rick Renteria was finished second in the Manager of the Year, so he goes. It's not like Tony La Russa's not inheriting a pretty good team. Rick Renteria left that team in pretty good shape with La Russa. But the question is, Rick Curti, are you drinking the Tony La Russa Kool-Aid, or do you think this is a bad hire?
I don't think it was a great hire. I mean, he's in his 70s already, and I don't know why Tony La Russa wants to come back. He's in the Hall of Fame. He cemented his legacy. I mean, it's not going to hurt his legacy. I mean, look at Lou Piniella when he went to Tampa Bay. He didn't do very well, but people don't remember that, or we don't remember Joe Namath as a Ram. So it's not going to hurt his legacy. It's more, why are you coming back? And you're in your 70s, like you got money, all the money in the world. I just don't get it. And the whole DUI thing, I kind of like say, you know what, they knew about it. He's never had it before. I think it was just a mistake he made. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So, and apparently the White Sox knew about it before they hired him. But I still find this hiring very strange. And what's funny, what you said was that Renteria was one finalist for Manager of the Year, and the guy they just fired. I thought that was kind of weird. So I mean, if he was going to like to the Dodgers or going to the Yankees, a team that's ready to win the World Series, I could totally understand this. But to me, the White Sox are just like an average 500 team. I don't see them at all as a serious World Series contender. So I don't know what the White Sox are smoking, and I still don't understand this hire of Tony La Russa.
Yeah, I'm a little mind boggled by it as well. I mean, with all due respect, Tony La Russa, you better have some really good coaches because at 76 years of age, you've done it all already, and this is a much different game than the one that he left, that's for sure. It really is. So I don't know. I wish him well, but if I were him, they need to get that situation straightened out. Otherwise, this could blow up very quickly if these allegations become a lot worse than they appear for sure. So, no, I mean, I know what we talked about Lou Piniella for a moment. When he went to Tampa, though, with all due respect, the Rays don't have any money. At that time, they were the Tampa Bay, and they had some bad players. So I'm not so sure I would compare this situation to the Tampa Bay Devil Rays at the time because Lou Piniella said, you got to get me better players. And the Rays, they play in a horrible building and never had any money coming in. So I think that comparison might be slightly off, but I know where you're going with it. So, all right, let's talk about some notable college football games that, because of COVID-19, the SEC looks like they are snake bitten. I'm going to read off every one of them. The Georgia Bulldogs were ranked 12th in the country against Missouri Tigers, postponed. Number 24, Auburn against Mississippi State, postponed. Number 5, Texas A&M against Tennessee, postponed. And the big one here, number 1, Alabama against LSU, postponed. Nick Saban, my goodness, we're back to him again, aren't we? The guy didn't miss a game because of COVID-19, but now his team is getting to do it. So let's talk about the SEC, and there's 2 other ones I want to talk about. What are your thoughts, Mel?
I mean, you just look what's going on around the country. We have record numbers as far as infections. The last week we've had record numbers as far as hospitalizations. So obviously, the NCAA is not going to be immune to that as well. I mean, they're all a part of this country that we live in, and we have not. It's hard to believe here we are in November, and we've been talking about this since February, March, however long we've been talking about it, that we're still talking about it in the way in which we're talking about it, whereas we have not got our arms around this thing. My daughter, my youngest daughter, just she had COVID, and she's just getting over that. So it's she's in school, so you're in school, you're bound to get it, and because you're around so many different people, and those people are around so many different folks. It's unfortunate. I mean, you look at the slate of games that have been postponed or canceled. There's a lot of games, a lot of big time games with a lot of big time implications there, and so you got Liberty in the top 25 because nobody's really played any games. The Pac-10 took a long time. They just started playing last week. We had a couple cancellations, or had a cancellation in the Pac-10 last week. So it's just unfortunate. But obviously football is just a microcosm of what's going on in this country right now.
Right.
Yeah, this should be no big surprise to anybody. I mean, the doctors have been saying that during the winter it's going to get really, really bad. Hunker down, be prepared. People are just not listening. Then people are not wearing masks. They're still not going to wear masks. They're tired of it, and I understand that. But at the same time, they're just ignoring it, thinking that it'll go away by itself, or we'll get past it, and I'm young and it's not going to happen to me. And I don't know, a lot of people are just being so stupid about this whole thing. Government has just been bad about this. It's gotten much, much, much worse. They've had to do some restrictions here in North Carolina, closing some bars and having a curfew now, limiting to like 10 people inside. And so nobody should be surprised by this, and it's annoying, it's irritating, but at the same time, it's about your life. You got to, and for college football, I mean, they should have never had any games. I've been saying this since the beginning. You should never have any games, especially with football, when it's so many people are so close together, and they're traveling together. I mean, look what happened in Notre Dame. When they upset Clemson, they rushed the field. And it's like, why were all those people at the game? And they rushed the field like that. That's just so horrible and so dumb and so stupid. So they just need to cancel the season and just let's get ready for 2021, have a shortened season in 2021, because it's going to be a while since we get rid of this until we wait for this vaccine to come.
Yeah, two other games I should point out. Duke and Virginia is postponed, and of course, number 3 Ohio State and Maryland, they're canceled. So the Big Ten, when you lose a game, you cancel them, you don't make them up. Wisconsin returns to the field to take on the Michigan Wolverines this weekend, so they've been off for a while. So you don't know what Badger team is going to show up. So, I mean, when you think of these teams that we have here, you got number 1 Alabama, number 3 Ohio State, and then you have number 5 Texas A&M. 3 of the top 5 teams will not be playing this Saturday. All right, let's talk about the NFL. Some key games. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers against the Carolina Panthers at 1 o'clock. Rick Curti in your backyard. Tom Brady, what the living daylights happened to him on Sunday night?
I have no idea. I mean, Tampa Bay has been a Jekyll and Hyde team, ever since I said that Father Time has caught up with Tom Brady, and then he'll play great. And then when I say, man, Brady looks really good, he'll get walloped. And that was just an embarrassment, especially in your home stadium. So for this game with the Tampa Bay, I mean, with the Panthers have been struggling, but nobody ever expected them to do well. And I think McCaffrey will be out again. So I have Tampa Bay winning this game, but, who knows what can happen. Both teams have been so inconsistent this year. But, I mean, Tampa Bay's got all the pressure on them. We're getting Tom Brady and Gronkowski and being these Super Bowl contenders, and they have just been Jekyll and Hyde. I just can't figure them out. Now they got this wacko and Antonio Brown. So hopefully he won't cause any problems there. And they said he's on his last chance here with Tampa Bay. So anything can go, but I'll have Tampa Bay winning this game, but it's not going to be a very good game. And but they should win it, but who knows? I have no idea what's going on with Tampa. They've just been incredibly inconsistent.
Yeah, Tom, obviously I think they're probably excited about the opportunity to get back out there and play again, because they stunk up the field the last time they played against New Orleans. They didn't even look like the same team. It looked like he'd never played football before. Just a bad performance. And, sometimes some teams have your number, I guess, but that was just a terrible performance just all the way around. And I'm sure that they're excited. They worked hard this week in preparing for Carolina, and this is obviously a division game, so it's it has that much more importance, and I'm sure that they're going to be really excited, and I'm sure they're going to go out there and they're going to play well. I think all of them are going to play well after that performance that they put on film last week.
I would think that Bruce Arians, to me, not that I would put a coach on the hot seat, but I would put him on the warm seat, knowing full well that he has Tom Brady and a lot of offensive weapons. And the way they got embarrassed and the expectations on this team are just unreal. One minute you think they're gangbusters, and then the next minute it looks like they've been ganged up on. So I'm going to give Tampa the edge, but boy, I'll tell you, this is a nervous edge. And Bruce Arians, I'm really sick and tired of him bickering in public. I really am. I mean, I realized, you know what, Bruce, Tom Brady is older. You wonder about Jameis Winston for a moment, who I think will be the heir apparent to Drew Brees at some point in New Orleans. And I'm not comparing Winston with Brady. We know full well that Brady has the jewelry, but Bruce Arians, to me, his act is getting old. He needs to be able to put together a Super Bowl team, and just to lose them in the manner that they lost on Sunday night is just unreal. I didn't watch the game, actually. I was doing the nice thing with my other half of watching crime shows, because after all, I'm trying to to realize that there's more to me than sports, although nobody would believe it anyway. So
I started watching the game, but it was so bad I stopped watching it. I mean, the game was terrible.
Yeah, well, I never started, so we'll leave it at that. So, all right, well, tell you what, there's one. We got a good game that'll occur in Southern Florida. The battle of two quarterbacks drafted right next to each other. Justin Herbert the LA Chargers against the Miami Dolphins. I think the LA Chargers are the best 2-6 team in football, and Justin Herbert to me is a stud, and Tua Tagovailoa to me will only get better as time goes on. So, Mel, lead off with this one.
Yeah, San Diego's had some, had some tough losses. They had to figure out how to win close games. That's the one thing that, what's how you take that next step is you got to figure out a way to win those close games, and they have not figured out how to do that. And it may, ultimately be to Anthony Lynn's demise if they don't figure out a way to do that. This might be, his seat is probably getting pretty hot right now as well. But yeah, they do have a young quarterback, but he's performing well. He's giving them an opportunity to win. But they just got to finish out. They got to learn how to finish games. I always thought that Tua should sit out the entire year. Get an opportunity to get fully healthy. But obviously, I'm not there watching practices, and I don't know how things are going in practice. But he's looked good the last couple games that he's played. I'm sure they're pretty excited about getting out there, and I'm sure he's excited about going up against a fellow rookie and seeing what he can do. Herbert, they didn't want him playing either, but because of a medical situation with Tyrod Taylor and accidentally puncturing his lung, he's out there playing. So I'm sure it'll be a good game, and we'll see what the future of the NFL looks like in the hands of these two young quarterbacks. We'll get an opportunity to kind of preview what the future could look like of the NFL.
So yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm taking Miami. San Diego hasn't learned how to win, so
You mean Los Angeles? You're talking about the San Diego.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. It's going to take me a while to get used to calling them.
It really does everybody. That's okay, but they are connected probably, I think, by the San Diego freeway, so you're part there.
Yeah, so I'm going to take Miami over the Los Angeles Chargers.
There you go. And LA, you should get it right. After all, you're from the LA area to some extent.
Right, I'm from the LA area. I'm used to them being San Diego down the I-5.
That's okay, Mel. We got you, bro. That's okay. All right, Curti.
Yeah, I like Herbert a lot. I really do. He kind of reminds me of Brett Favre, the big, young, strong kid with a big arm. San Diego's a really good team, but they've had some heartbreaking losses.
San Diego, you're drinking.
I'm sorry, Los Angeles Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers have had some heartbreaking losses, and but Herbert's done a really great job. He's a Rookie of the Year candidate. Like I said, he kind of reminds me of a Brett Favre with a big, strong arm, young. I love his passion, his enthusiasm, and as soon as San Diego can start winning, and they'll be fine. And Tua, like I said, I'm not really too high in Tua. His first game, he wasn't all that good. It was more of the Miami Dolphins defense that really cemented the win. He played a lot better in the second game, but I'm still not really sold on him. I just don't think that style of play, the running and all, it just, that's just my opinion. But I had Miami winning this game because I agree with Mel. San Diego has they don't know how to win yet. So I had Miami win this game.
Los Angeles
Chargers should win this game. I'm so used to them being San Diego.
What I'm going to do on the next broadcast, I'm going to deliberately take the Chargers off of it, so you guys I'm
going to call them the Chargers for now. I'm going to say the Chargers. I'm going to say the Chargers have not been able to win. They've been inconsistent. So I'm going to go with Miami on this. But I think the Miami defense has just really done really well, and I think and we'll see what Tua did. But they should win pretty comfortably, I think.
Yeah, I can say one thing about 2020. We're looking at a quarterback class that's looking awfully good between Justin Herbert, Tua Tagovailoa, and Joe Burrow. This may be one of the better quarterback classes that have come out, but I'm going to ride the Dolphins with this one.
We still haven't seen the kid at Green Bay yet.
You won't see him for a while.
No.
Jordan Love?
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't see him for a little while. And the way
unless Rodgers gets really hurt or something.
Well, the best thing that can happen to him is he holds a clipboard for 2-3 years anyhow. And if Rodgers keeps playing what he is, but no, he won't. The last thing I heard about him, he was on the virus list because his roommate had it. So, but these three players that you have between Herbert, Tua, and Joe Burrow, three studs. But I'm drinking the Dolphins Kool-Aid, and I'm drinking it pretty convincingly. Let's talk about the Buffalo Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. How do you like what the Bills did to the Seattle Seahawks? I realize that West Coast teams struggle on the East Coast, but don't sell the Buffalo Bills short.
Yeah, Buffalo poses a lot of problems. I mean, they're a good football team. They create a lot of problems, create a lot of mixed matches, um, offensively for defensive teams, and we know that Seattle has struggled defensively. They've struggled to rush the passer with four, to get to the quarterback with four, and their front four has been suspect. So the Buffalo's playing good, and yeah, and it's tough. Sometimes to travel from the West Coast to the East Coast. I don't know, if they're traveling 2 days ahead, or if they're just traveling a day ahead, or they're traveling the day of. I don't know how exactly they're doing it, but that's a tough trip. But a lot of people pick Buffalo to come out of the AFC East, and they had been playing well earlier in the year. They had a couple games where they kind of looked like they fell off the wagon, but as Chris Berman always says, no one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills, and they've circled the wagons.
Like that reference, are they circling the wagon in the desert?
You know, I'm not, I like Kyler. I'm not sold on Cliff yet. I'm not sold on what they're doing out there in the desert. So if I had to pick between the two, I would definitely pick the Buffalo Bills over the Cardinals, over the St. Louis Cardinals. Oh, I'm sorry, Phoenix. No, they're Arizona now.
Yeah, okay. Well, now he's messing with us. Okay, that's all right, Mel. This is a show you might as well get all your geography out the window. So just so you know, everybody out there, Mel Farr Jr., okay, is circling the wagon with Geography 101. But that's all right. At least he's going to be consistent this entire broadcast. So, all right, Rick, can you top Mel's geography lesson today?
No, I'm pretty good with the Arizona Cardinals, and I've never been a fan of Cliff Kingsbury. I think he's an incredibly overrated coach. It was under 500, but you got to give it to Buffalo in this. I mean, McDermott is one of the best coaches in the NFL that nobody ever talks about. To me, he's a Coach of the Year candidate. Buffalo had been to the playoffs in like a long, long time, and he's made them a playoff team, and he's done a really good job. Josh Allen is doing really good. He's an MVP candidate. Their defense is really good. They pose a lot of problems with a lot of teams. They were struggling, but they got out of that little funk that they were in. And I didn't see Seattle losing to them. I really liked Seattle with Russell Wilson, but Buffalo played a great game, and you got to tip your hat off to them.
So you're going with in the desert?
Oh, I'm going with Buffalo. I don't like Arizona at all. I don't like Kingsbury. Kyler, I'm not really sold on him. I mean, his numbers are really, really good. He's done a great job, but I wouldn't have him as my franchise. I think his height is, to me, problematic for me. And usually running quarterbacks have a very short shelf life. That's why I'm saying that about Tua. They just have a very short shelf life, and he's not really a big quarterback. I like Allen. He's a big, young, strong quarterback with a big arm like Herbert and with the Chargers. So I like Buffalo in this one. I'm not sold on the Arizona at all.
Yeah, Buffalo was never a free agent destination to land quarterbacks. But I'll tell you what, if you can't get nobody there as a free agent, you might as well draft them and draft them well. Josh Allen's done a really good job out there. He really has. Having Stephon Diggs out there doesn't hurt. And Sean McDermott, you're right, is one of our underrated coaches. I'm definitely going with Buffalo out in desert for sure. The one thing I have a problem with Kyler Murray, though, I enjoy watching him play his mobility. Where I struggle with a little is where he holds the football so low where it's wide open, where he can get it knocked away. And you don't want to leave the ball unprotected, which does lead to turnovers. And I noticed that in the Miami game. But you know what? With all due respect, I do like Buffalo in this game. I think the Buffalo Bills are a team to be reckoned with out in the AFC. All right, we got the Seattle Seahawks against the LA Rams. Now we'll stay in LA, Mel. I'm sure you can get used to the LA Rams because you're used to the LA Rams because you have a history at LA with the LA Rams. Okay, Russell Westbrook against Jared Goff. What's your take on this?
You said Russell Westbrook, or he's going to be playing. He's going to be
See, now I got you guys here. Russell Westbrook. We already talked about him earlier. So it was an RW. This is a very interesting show, folks. We got guys that don't know their geography. I don't know my Russells, and we can all laugh about it and have a good time here during COVID-19 here in 2020. So,
right.
But so Russell Westbrook isn't walking in that door, although he is from the LA area, playing his ball at UCLA. You know what? I better quit while I'm ahead. Let's get to the football game. Russell Wilson against Jared Goff. Go ahead, Mel.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. I mean, it's one of those games that you look forward to seeing. Obviously, both teams are. I think with Seattle coming off that a disappointing loss from a week ago, they're going to be looking forward to have an opportunity to go back out there and try to correct some of those mistakes that they made. I just don't know if defensively they have enough to be able to stop some of the better teams in the league right now. Whether it's scheme wise or player wise, I don't know what it is. And my college teammate is a defensive coordinator there, and of course I'm rooting for him, but they're having a difficult time stopping anybody over there. So I'm not sure if it's personnel or if it's scheme. I don't know, but I would love to see Seattle win this game. I just don't know if they're going to be able to stop with what the Rams do, because they're so multiple. They show you so many. They show you so much. You have to have real good eye discipline, and if you don't have good, and even sometimes your eyes could lie to you. So I'm going to pick the Rams to win this game in a close one.
I assume you're referring to Ken Norton Jr. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. For those out there, Ken Norton Jr., Mel Farr Jr.'s teammate. Okay, Rick.
Well, the St. Louis Rams, I'm kidding. The LA Rams are, to me, they're just not, I don't know, ever since they lost that Super Bowl, and they've just really have not been the same after that. I'm really never been sold on Goff at all. He got a great payday, but as a franchise quarterback, I'm not sold on him. I love Russell Wilson. To me, he's still MVP of the season. They had a bad game. They got that out of their system. They played a great game team in Buffalo. It wasn't like they lost to the Jets or anything like that. So, Buffalo's just a really good team. So, and I like Seattle in this. Their defense is suspect, but as long as you got Russell Wilson there, you're going to be fine. And I'm not the Rams. They're just not a very good team. They're just I don't know what it is. Just I don't know if it's that Super Bowl hangover. They just can't get over that, or they just have been playing very inconsistent and poor the last couple of seasons. So I have Seattle winning this.
Yeah, I do too. Russell Wilson will show up in LA, and he will show up and get them a win. That's all I have to say. All right, Monday night, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears. NFC North division, as our buddy Chris Berman would say. I love the NFC North. He gives the old hockey analogy. This game could be a lot more closer than most people think. The Minnesota Vikings got off to a tough start. Everybody wanted to write Mike Zimmer off. Shame on you. Mike Zimmer is a good coach, and the Chicago Bears have Nick Foles. So who do you have, Mel, for Monday night?
Well, the Vikings are on a little win streak here. I think they won a couple games in a row right now. I think Chicago they beat the Rams last, and
Vikings beat the Lions. And again, nowadays everybody's doing it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, Chicago's not. Chicago's a good defensive team. They're still trying to figure out the quarterback position.
Right.
Zimmer. I think Minnesota, they're finally figuring out who they are, and they're running the ball well. They're running the ball very effectively. They're getting the ball to Dalvin Cook, and he's been extremely effective. So I have to go with the Vikings in this game over Chicago.
Okay, Rick.
The Vikings have started out really poor. They've been, to me, one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL. The Bears defense is really good. I think Foles is such an upgrade to Trubisky. I really do. I think Trubisky's gone. I don't think he'll be coming back. I never was sold on him. I thought it was a very weak quarterback class, and that's why he was drafted so high. Nevertheless, I like Chicago in this. I like them with their defense. And, I love Dalvin Cook. And seems like the Vikings are playing a little bit better. But I'm going to go with Chicago in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bears, too. Bears have something to play for, the playoffs. Nick Foles, good quarterback. You can never count that defense out. They're playing at Soldier Field. The colder it gets, the better it is for them. God only knows I covered my fair share of games at Soldier Field when I was with the Lions covering them. I don't care if they put an outer band around the building. Lake Michigan is like Michigan. So I'm going to go with the Bears. All right, let's talk about tonight's football game. Indianapolis Colts against the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry, what a beast. Ryan Tannehill. And then, of course, you have Phillip Rivers. Should be, and these divisional games, let alone a prime time. This is going to be a good football game tonight. Who wants that?
I can go. It should be a really interesting game. Phillip Rivers has been struggling. I think he's been averaging like one touchdown or less since he's been with the Colts. And I like Tannehill. He's done a great job. Henry is, to me, the best running back in the NFL. And I'm going to go with Tennessee on this. I think they're a better team. Rivers, I think, is kind of showing his age. This might be his last year. Maybe might have another year after that. But he's just not been playing all that great since coming to Indianapolis. I like Tennessee in this one.
Mel?
Yeah, I like Tennessee as well. I'm surprised. I think that Tennessee will expose Phillip Rivers. You can't move the pocket with him. You can't do any kind of rollouts or anything like that. Phillip Rivers, when he drops back, he's going to be right where you expect him to be, and that's 5, 10, 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage. You can just kind of have a meeting at the quarterback there. But and that's why I give Tennessee the edge, is because of the quarterback. And obviously they run the ball very well. Both the teams are, they're having very good years. I think Indianapolis is 5-3, and I think Tennessee is 6-2. But they run the ball better. Their quarterback is a little bit better, and defensively, I think they'll get after Phillip Rivers. And I think Phillip Rivers will definitely show his age today.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to go with Tennessee. Tannehill's done a really, really good job with Tennessee, but Derrick Henry's the guy to watch tonight. And I think now that he's on a big stage, he's going to let everybody know full well what a running back he is. So I think that makes it a clean sweep with us. This is a weekend where Candy and I were supposed to go to Green Bay to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. And the Green Bay Packers, unfortunately, COVID, I was hoping to cover it. Obviously, COVID-19 wrecked my ability to go up to Jacksonville quite a bit because of the reduced capacity in the box, plus my hesitation to travel up to Jacksonville an awful lot. So, it's a shame. Every opportunity I get to go to Lambeau Field, it would be great if I could do it. Just wasn't meant to happen here. So, meanwhile, all I can tell you, folks, is Mel and I and Rick Curti will get our geography lesson right next week. Okay. Of course, I probably might help by not including the Chargers in there so we can't screw it up. Just kidding, guys. But we aim to entertain you. I can rest assured that I'm not worried about how many Russells there are, because it doesn't make any difference. The two that we talked about happen to be good players. It's just making sure we can just separate the distinction between a pigskin and a round ball. So, this is a really tough time, and I'm with both of you. Why college football is going on right now goes beyond my wildest of imagination. You have to wonder what the over-under is of how many postponements you have, cancellations, and I only mentioned 6. And unfortunately, we have to mention them every week because it's a constant reminder about how dangerous COVID-19 is. Now, I will admit, this weekend, I'm going up to Sebring Raceway to see the 12 Hours of Sebring, a great race, and they're closing the season out there. I have every intention of masking up. I do wear gloves, can never dictate the outcry of what's going to happen. But you know what I'm not going to do is I will not let this virus stop me from going out there and living anyways. All we can do is do everything that we can to take the necessary precautions that we have to do the right thing. But you know what? People die in auto accidents. They die of heart attacks right away. So for anybody out there that's listening to this broadcast, do the things you have to do to take care of yourself. But don't let this virus take over your life to a point where you stop living. Because we're only here for a stay, a visit, not a long time thing. Morris had 9 lives. We have to make the most of the one that we have. So while we talk about COVID-related issues every week, you know what? We wish we had other things to talk about. It's just the way it is these days, guys. So I don't know how you're going to approach it, but I'm not letting this virus get the best of me. I'm going to do what I've got to do. If for some reason or another down the road I get it, so what? You never know what can happen, but don't stop living your passion. You know, in the next couple of weeks or so, I hope to see my mother one more time. Her, her, COPD has gotten to a point where she's in the hospital. But you know what? It doesn't make any difference. We all have to go out there and do what we've got to do and maintain our own legacy no matter how painful things are. We can only hope and pray that the leadership that we have in place or will have in place will lead to where we need to go. But don't stop being optimistic and don't stop being positive. Do what you've got to do. Once again, we're only here for a visit. We all have a shelf life. Ask Alex Trebek. Rest in peace, Alex. Arguably one of the greatest game shows on the host on the planet. He didn't die with COVID-19. He died from pancreatic cancer. The list goes on and on. That's what 2020 is all about. But let's not lose sight of who we are. We're human beings. We have to do what we've got to do. So, any closing thoughts, Rick?
I just want to say about COVID, just be careful. Like Scott said, you got to go on with your life. Like me, I go on with my life. I work, I go out, but at the same time, I wear my mask. I social distance. I'm not going to any crowded events. I've been invited to so many events, and I just always ask them. I cancel all of them because I'm not going to get myself involved in that. But people just need to be careful. Just use some common sense. I still see people not wearing masks. They think this thing is not going to affect them because they're young. You're seeing young people dying of this. Just be careful, be safe. I know a lot of people want to travel for the holidays and things like that. And it's just been really, really tough. And hopefully our new presidency, hopefully things will be better. Just be optimistic, be patient, and listen to doctors, and just use some common sense. Wear a mask, be safe, and this is not a hoax. This is very, very, very real.
All right, Rick, while you're on a roll, why don't you go ahead and roll and let everybody know how they can go ahead and get a hold of you. And by the way, before you do that, I want to let everybody know out there that Rick Curti is a very valuable part of the South Florida Tribune, as he does a magnificent job helping us in social media, not only promote the content that we get, but all the broadcasts that we appear on, including the one that we're on right now. He remotes everything, whether he's on the air or not. And we hope that everybody takes an opportunity when they to appreciate the effort that everybody that we bring on the broadcast puts forth an effort. They put their heart and their soul and their mind to what we do to try to make this the best broadcast we can. So Rick, we forever thank you. Go ahead and let everybody know how they get a hold of you.
You can contact me on my website at www.charlottebats.com. My email address is cltbatsbaseball@gmail.com. I'm also on Facebook at Charlotte MLB and also on Charlotte Bats Baseball. I'm on Instagram at Charlotte Bats, and I'm also on the Twitter on Charlotte Bats Baseball. And you can also find me on LinkedIn under Rick Curti, Curti, and you can contact me on any of those social media websites.
Mel, take it away.
Yeah, and find me on any of the social media websites at Mel Farr Jr. That's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. My email address is melfarjr@gmail.com. And to follow what we have going on here in Atlanta and also up in Detroit for the youth, you can check us out at melfar.org. Check out the website at melfar.org.
Okay, as far as social media as we are concerned, follow us on Twitter at Tribune South. That's at Tribune South. Facebook and Instagram, South Florida Tribune. You'll find us there. Please follow us. YouTube channel, South Florida Tribune. Subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything. I'll give you 6 reasons why you should subscribe. Number 1, the sports exchange is on there. No limits. 108 Stitches baseball talk, real and the rare. Fantasy football, South Florida Tribune podcast. So 6 great broadcasts for one simple subscribe. Our website is www.southfloridatribune.com. We have the Motor City Monitor on there. We have our media distribution partners provide us with content. We have columnists, and first and foremost, we have all of our broadcasts that appear there as well. Our email address is southfloridatribune@gmail.com. You can find us on myself on LinkedIn, Scott Morganroth. And if you want to hear the audio version of the broadcast, you can do so at Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. So, guys, great broadcast. Always like to have a lot of fun. And I always say we're here to entertain, whether our geography is on par. Who that really cares? Because the only reason it's off is when teams relocate anyways. It takes a little while to get used to where they are. So that's just the nature of the game. If you build it, they will come, meaning stadiums and teams. So that's why guys like us can make mistakes, because we got to get the geography. But in all due respect, the names like the Raiders don't change, the Chargers don't change, the Rams don't change. And the beat goes on. Great broadcast, guys, and look forward to our next edition of the Sports Exchange. Rick Curti gets double duty on Monday night. Get ready to go, Rick. So
Yep.
for Rick Curti, Mel Farr Jr., my name is Scott Morganroth, the Motor City Madmouth. Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Sports Exchange. Have a great weekend, everybody, and go out there and be safe. Good night, everyone.